As I approach the car, it knows I'm here because I've got this key. Bold choice with the white interior. But it looks pretty smoking in here. Tons of legroom. Couple USB ports down here. Got cameras on the side here as well. That is a heck of a tow hook. Welcome to the Tesla 100D. The 100D, not the P100D, but certainly fast enough. We have 4 people in the car right now, including myself, and this thing boogies. I want to show you guys what this does from a dig. There's an Audi behind us, and we're about to match his speed. At 60. Currently have it in a mode where when I lift off the throttle, it brakes for me, which is a little scary when you're in a situation when you're in a corner because you feel like you want to coast, but then it'll actually kind of brake. But when you do lift off, you'll notice that the taillights are actually illuminated as if I was on the brakes. Makes it a lot easier to drive the car in traffic because you're not always swapping between pedals. You can see all the sensors noticing the side of the road and all the snowbanks on the side, so you can tell how close I am to the debris. But it just boogies. It gets up and goes. Coming out of a corner, there's very little cars on the road that feel like a Tesla coming out of a corner. getting us a little close to that line. So with autopilot, it's best on highway roads. It's always a little sketchy when you're driving it on back roads because it has a harder time doing lots of tasks. So it kind of has like this delayed response. It certainly works and you're probably not going to die. One of the features of autopilot that makes it semi-autonomous is the fact that you are always supposed to have your hands on the wheel. If you take your hands off the wheel for a long enough time, it'll start to warn you. If you do not heed those warnings, it will then alert you that if you do not put your hands back on the wheel, you will no longer be able to enter autopilot mode. So, I'll show you that. I did not like that autopilot. Why isn't your car telling me I have to put my hands back on the wheel? Is this a new feature that you're allowed to just...
It did this to us last night. It stole it from us for the rest of the drive.
Yeah, you have to restart the car to get it back.
Yeah, we had to do that, yeah.
I promise if you think your sports car is fast, you're just wrong. This is faster. This reminds me very much of my friend Bren from Bren Tuning. He has a 700 horsepower E63 AMG with around 800 pound-feet of torque. This is the only thing that feels like it. So boys in the back, how are you feeling with leg room? How are you feeling with dizziness? There is definitely a sense of vertigo and kind of like car sickness that comes along with the smoothness of a Tesla. So how's that feeling for you right now?
That's nice back here. It feels, I'm sure, even faster in the back seat than it does up front.
That's for sure. To be honest, I didn't quite get the Tesla as a daily driver until I drove it in bumper-to-bumper traffic, and that's where this car becomes very appealing because the amount of inputs you need to put into the car is so minimal and it's so relaxing. It's like this just chamber of silence and relaxation that is unmatched. There's nothing else that feels quite like a Tesla when you're in nasty traffic. And yeah, on paper it's a heavy car, but because the weight is so low, it masks a little bit of that weight. So it's surprisingly enjoyable to toss into a corner. Although it's a little bit vague, you definitely don't get an amazing steering feel. But I'll tell you, I just came out of a 2 Series last week, and I think I might take this steering over the 2 Series.
We can tighten up the steering if you want.
Yeah, let's go through some of the modes on the car.
Oh, I guess we're already in sports steering, so it can only get worse from there.
Okay.
But for suspension, we can go lower on the suspension.
Yeah, let's go lower on the suspension.
Takes a little bit to probably already there.
And that's just like a little bit of throttle. That's not me pushing it at all. It's pretty impressive. Just on demand. It's funny because you think about all the cars you wouldn't want to give your teenager, and this is really high on the list because you get yourself in a heck of a lot of trouble on a back road in this car. And I'm sitting in a car with like 3 of them, and I wouldn't want to give this car to any of them.
We can also turn on, there's no traction control fully up. We have slip start.
Okay. Yeah, I think
Stop
when we stop and we'll do another launch with the slip start because I could definitely feel it cutting in on the launch that we did earlier.
Yeah, it does that.
Now we've got slip control or slip start, which is basically as close to traction off as you can get. We've got a 4-way stop. Let's launch her. Takes a second to get it out of the hole. That initial launch isn't that crazy, and maybe that's the difference between the 100D and the P100D. Because this does not have ludicrous mode. So if you're looking to snap necks right on the launch, this might not be the car for you. But once you get it going, that throttle is mighty sensitive and ready to go. And we'll do a little brake check from, let's say, 45 or 50. ABS steps in a little early, but because the weight of the car is so massive, it still comes down in a hurry. It probably has braking characteristics more similar to an S-Class than a sports car. The Teslas are all about safety. They're all about making sure that this car does not get away from the driver. So when you do have this on slippery conditions, or you're trying to get the car to step out a little bit, you'll find that you won't be able to do it. On slippery conditions, you'll be able to get the tail to wiggle just a little bit. It does a lot of work to keep you in a straight line by powering those motors in different ways to make sure that you're not going to go sideways. So if you're looking for something that's going to go drift around corners and be like your crazy electric car that lets you hoon around, it's probably not it. But if you want to just troll people on the highway up to about 120, this will do the trick. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.